Wow. I have to tell you that never in my wildest dreams did I think that I would be standing here, surrounded by sluts, in front of the biggest fucking phallus on the planet. Sluts! What an amazing, powerful little word. It's the only word I know of that can be thrown as a weapon and also catalyze the conversation about sexual assault and rape right into the global public arena in a way that nothing to date has ever accomplished before. Look where we are. Just look where we are. It's fucking raining. And you know what else? We don't have the numbers that we thought we did. But it takes courage for every single one of us to stand here today. When my first boyfriend's father attacked me in the middle of the night, I couldn't hear my own breath. It sucked right in and disappeared when he launched his 200-pound frame on my sleeping teenage self. At first, I thought he was an escaped baboon or an abominable monster, magically resurrected to suffocate and snuff me out. Do you know that the adrenaline rush of fear that happens in life and death moments often causes an influx of fluid in your mouth and in your genitals? So women are told they must have wanted it. They were wet. Because we live in a world that wants women to be shamed. Period. Whether over or under, much or little, sex worker or UN diplomat, fat or thin, dark or light, rich or poor, sexual or celibate, dressed in baggy or dressed in tight, flat-chested or buxom, wet or dry, the TOO2 word is almost always associated with female. As long as a person is too much of something, whether it's too sexy, too smart, too quiet, too strong, too weak, it serves to excuse whoever is pointing the finger from holding themselves accountable for their own choices and actions. I lived through my first rape with a heart chant. It went like this. But she'd die if she knew. She'd die if she knew. I stayed alive by loving the mother in my very first boyfriend's family. I also effectively rendered myself invisible by believing the socially sanctum dictum that withholding the truth is a loving act. It isn't. Not speaking the truth, not telling, was a well-intentioned, dishonest, self-protective robbery of a piece of my very first boyfriend's mother's personal narrative by me. And it was the best adaptation I could create at the time. Don't mislead yourself here. I never once woke up in the morning and just decided out of the blue that I wanted to spend my entire fucking life focused on rape and sexual assault. No one in their right mind would choose to dwell in these things just for shits. No. I came to this work because I was violently sexually victimized. When I had my first flashback and my post-traumatic stress kicked in, we didn't even know the words. I had no idea what was happening to me. No one did. I promised myself then that if I survived and I could help it, no one person was ever going to have to do this journey the way I have. When my parents responded as if they could not bear the reality of me, I believed myself unbearable. But look at us today. Look around. Tons and tons of us. Real, live, bearable people talking about the realities of sexual violence. And slut walks are springing up all over the world. We're in over 30 cities in the United States. Yes! Yes! We're in Amsterdam from Australia, Hong Kong, and Germany. We're in New Delhi, the UK, and Mexico City. And every one of us, in our own uniquely idiosyncratic ways, is determined to take the globally accepted thinking about sexual assault and rape and grab it by the balls. No matter who you are, what your gender is, what you wear, you are never responsible for being assaulted. One of the reasons I'm so grateful to the police officer in Toronto who made the foolish comment about not dressing like a slut unless you want to get raped, that catalyzed this global phenomena of slutwalk, is that it is now clear, I hope, to most thinking people that slut-blaming, slut-shaming, victim-blaming, and victim-shaming have nothing whatsoever to do with anything real or honest in the conversation about sexual assault. So, how about a big, loud thank you to Constable Michael Sanguinetti. Truth about shame. Nothing that people put out exists in a vacuum. The power of shaming is in direct proportion to our willingness to internalize it. So if we truly want to stop slut-shaming and slut-blaming, we have to take a really hard look at how feeling shame has not only hurt us, but also enabled our own denial. Imagining ourselves to be at fault for what happened creates a mythology that we held some level of control over the crimes that were imposed. Inside, it sounds something like this. If only I had been different, all of it might have been different. When what is actually true is that when someone is sexually assaulted, they have no control whatsoever. This heartbreaking reality is so excruciating that even the pain of the shame we carry seems less awful by comparison. So here we are now, in the midst of a global conversation, shifting the blame and shame off of the victimized. And what do many of us do? I sure wanted to. We point our fingers in the other direction. It isn't us, it's them. We can blame the perpetrators, as if any of those people woke up one morning and decided they wanted to spend the short, precious time they get to live their lives as perpetrators of sexual violence. Imagine with me here, just for a minute. We've got a small boy in his PJs praying every night by his bed, wishing and wishing that someday he could grow up to be a rapist. No. Stereotypically, men are supposed to be strong manipulators of mass. They're socially conditioned out of their capacity for feelings and empathic connectedness. Yet, when they behave like violent oaths, the ones that we culturalize them to be, we imprison them where they are often victimized before we send them out to do it all again. Rape and sexual assault draw their point of origin from our global culture. Let me not be misunderstood here. To sexually assault, to rape, is a choice. It is indisputably, absolutely a fucking choice when one person rapes another. And it's mostly men that are the doers, and it's mostly women that are the done-tos. And women rape too, and men get sexually assaulted, and little girls and little boys and babies of every ethnicity on the planet. And gay people rape gay people, third-gendered people, and people who choose to be non-gendered, the hearing and the deaf, the athletes and the differently abled, are all wounded by sexual crimes. We are all at risk, and it has nothing whatsoever to do with the clothes we put or don't put on our bodies. Because we live in a world that propagates rape and sexual assault. And here's the kicker. We are all responsible. One of the loveliest things about being human is our ability to learn through experience. One of the deadliest things about being human is our ability to learn through experience. Way too often we take our individual tragedies and transform them into gross generalizations. This is bullshit. I've been hurt by someone who had a skin color different than mine. Am I supposed to be wary of all people with that skin color? No. When somehow something else happened, perpetrated by someone with the same color as the person who originally hurt me, people treated me like an idiot for not realizing that all people who look like that are dangerous. This is ludicrous. On the other hand, if I speak any of this out loud, I'm a racist. And we teach this in some form or another to our children all of the time. We have a globally sanctioned foundation for every ism, for every group hatred we've ever been able to come up with. It works really well, too. As long as we have an us and a them, we can live a paradigm that makes hatred, blame, shame, sexual assault, and rape inevitable. This is called global rape culture, and it serves us because as long as we have an us and an other, then we are not like them, and then we can pretend that what they did or what happened to them will never, ever happen to us. And if it does, we can be utterly and completely surprised. But what if the entire construct is faulty thinking? What if the beliefs we form after trauma are simply that? Trauma beliefs that appear necessary at the time in order to survive, but that certainly do not deserve the sanction of becoming the foundation on which to base our lives. It is difficult and it is entirely possible to choose a life that does not enact belief, conviction, and action out of individual pain and trauma. It is not a given that we are to live in hate. In fact, if there is any given here, it is that we are supposed to live choosing a life that is foundationed in love.